Saponara with the chip. Oh no, he didn't. What a goal! And that is the way to finish. Riccardo Saponara, exquisite, glorious.
Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight episode 100, and to mark this momentous special event, Matthew is back.
Hey guys.
We'd like to thank Mintoff for filling in the formidable shoes of Matt, but please brother, tell us, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's good to be back in the studio. Now, this is my first time recording in the studio.
Thoughts?
Amazing, bro. What a place.
We've got the kits, we've got the bobbleheads.
Yeah. Still needs work, obviously, but
there's no door.
It's, I mean, yeah, but I kind of like the curtain vibes. I thought it's so good to be back, man. Obviously, I wasn't in Australia for a good time. But after 3 weeks of missing games and missing this and missing my homies and missing work, finally I'm back drinking local beer here with you, brother.
There we are, bro.
And what better way, episode 100.
Did you miss the Cagliari game, the comeback?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Devastating.
I was in and out for most games. I mean, I always got up for Milan, but for most of them I was falling asleep. It was late nights, early mornings over there. I have a lot of catching up to do. I'm so glad I didn't try to record because
you would have been a mess, I think. But Mintoff is very good, huh?
Yes, Mintoff is brilliant. I enjoyed every single episode. Thank you, obviously, to Mintoff as well for stepping in.
Yes, they really enjoyed them. The listeners were enjoying it.
Less manic than I remember.
Yes, he's settled, he's mature. Maybe he's found a woman, he's not telling us, but he's definitely matured. But yes, guys, for our goal of the week, since there weren't any goals of the week because it's the international break, we plugged in Saponara, our favorite over here,
obviously.
Ricky Sappi. Mm-hmm. And there we go, that fantastic goal he scored for Spezia against Roma in the Coppa Italia.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, guys, for this episode, we are going to ask each other a few questions. It's going to be a special. Some will be football related, some might not be totally football related, but obviously we'll always end up going back to football. We'll take questions that we collected through Instagram and Twitter over the past few days, and at the end, you'll actually hear from our patrons. We asked them to each send a voice note, basically saying how they stumbled upon us, what they like about the show. And yeah, honestly, I got very emotional listening to it because I never thought that this little thing we did meant so much to certain people. And man, it's great. It's really good.
And not everyone sent in a voice note, but we got a really good representation of the worldwide listeners that we have. We've got a listener from America, we've got from the UK, we've got from Norway. You know, we've got a really good sample rate just to show you guys like how far we've come in 100 episodes. Whenever I speak to people about podcasts, they always say the same thing. So long as you get past episode 5 and you keep on going, then your community is likely to grow. And that is really one thing that I've noticed doing this for 100 times, essentially.
And they are what keep us going, to be honest with you. I love when I open my phone and people are reacting to what we said, or people are like, oh, that really made me laugh, that moment. These things keep us going, of course. If it was dead silence, I'm sure we would have stopped a while back, right?
Yeah.
But yes, I'm going to thank the patrons before we get into it, bro. I'd like to thank Ed, Alan, Andy, Lena, Jose, Mintoff, Tonna, Matteo, Luca, Argento, Anthony, Michael, and Matthias. Thank you very much, you guys. We have a nice little mix over here. Milan fans, United fans, Chelsea fans, Juventus fans, an Atalanta fan, new Michael, welcome. And Matthias, of course, is a Roma and a BK Hacken fan, if you know who those guys are, because I most certainly do not.
We also have Anthony, Mr. Lokash, who also represents Italy, Greece, and Australia in one.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
He was also meant to send a voice note, but he's having a great time in Malaysia, so I don't think. I think the last thing he's thinking about right now is the voice note he has to send us. So.
Really enjoy, brother, enjoy.
But yeah, bro, I'm curious to see what you've cooked up for me and these questions that we had to prepare for each other.
So the way we're going to do this is, I'm guessing I ask one, we take some time to discuss, and then you ask one, and we take some time to discuss. I think that would be the best way to go about this. So I want to start off with a question about the podcast in order to celebrate episode 100. Do you consider our podcast successful? If not, what is your measure for success?
So the podcast is successful in my opinion. It's purely subjective. I'm sure there will be people who look at the numbers and think maybe, the Total Football Podcast with Micah Richards, Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker got 10 million downloads in about 20-something episodes.
All former
Well,
footballers.
we were on 100 episodes with 20,000 downloads, but I never even expected us to get this far. This was a little project, and for me, the fact that we have made connections with people who share our passion for football, that is a clear sign of success for me. I just love the fact that I can open my phone at any point in the day and just talk about football. Or if something happens, I can't wait to put a spin on this or talk about it, quite frankly, discuss it with you, joke about it. Like the second someone celebrates in a weird way, I'm already thinking how are we going to fucking roast this guy on the podcast, So yeah, for me, it's something I enjoy doing. I have never kept something up for this long. I am the CEO of starting things and stopping. Even when it comes to gifts for Sarah, I would start making something and I would just give up. I teach. I started working on a book once, an English grammar book. I fucking never finished that. So many things. The gym, like you said, and this is the one thing that has been consistent.
Yeah, this stuck, and I think I'm pretty much mirroring what you said. I'm really glad we see it in the same way. What were our goals coming into setting this podcast up? Number one is that we won't give up on it, and it'll be something consistent. It'll allow us to watch more football and watch it more closely.
And have an excuse to watch it.
The
girls will be like, you're going to watch another game? We have to. It's work. It's work.
It's the grand, baby. It's the grand.
Damn. I really hate that I have to watch Bologna Genoa right now. I really don't want to be watching it.
Sign me up! And the most important thing to me out of this is that you and I got to do something like this together, that we got to keep it up, and that we got to build a small community. That if you had to tell me we'd have our group of friends listening to our podcast and they were super engaged and listening to it, and it's 10 of them, then I'd probably keep on doing it. You know what I mean? That is the way in which I measure the success. Hopefully one day, because you need to also shoot for the stars. So we've got our success because we're nice, grounded guys. Then that is our idea of success. However, there always needs to be a next step. And if there isn't a next step, then you can get a little bit stagnant and the hunger can die. Yeah. So I wonder what that next step will be.
I think the shop is the next step. Merchandise, figuring out how to do it. I want to buy a printer. Tomorrow's Black Friday. Start making prints, make them available. Hand out a few to our patrons after I figure out how to fucking send things overseas. And eventually a t-shirt print would be cool. A t-shirt press. They're like €200 apparently. You could totally get one and make a few t-shirts as well. That would be nice. I think that could be that would make us maybe sustainable, give us another front. But
increasing our output on social media. Obviously, you've been doing that by yourself since I've been away.
Yeah.
So it'll be good having both of us back here so we could start getting millions of views again on singular videos.
On stupid, controversial videos.
Quite literally. But and I don't know, it sounds a bit like a dream, but doing this full time is the astronomical goal.
Yes.
Right now, I would so be that guy to not that I want to quit my job or anything like that, but I'd so be that guy to take a risk. But just like most people, I've got a loan to pay off and this and that, which doesn't make it quite sustainable to take such a risk at this stage. But who knows, man? Who knows?
The most important thing is that, look, the most difficult thing about growing in any field is stopping the goalpost from moving. That is the most difficult thing about, let's say, for example, even when it comes to career. You start off at minimum wage, you work for 10 years, all of a sudden you're making triple what you started out with. Yeah. For example, I'm not sure if that's a good example, if that's an accurate example, but let's use that for now. If you lived 10 years after you started working the same way that you lived when you started working, then you would live like a rich man. The problem is that we always want a bigger house, a better car, better clothes, a more expensive trip, you know. The thing that we have to do is keep our goals within reach.
Yeah.
And remain consistent and enjoy it. Because if we're not enjoying it and if we're not giving out good content, people will feel that we're not into it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's when the listeners will drop.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I'm glad we see eye to eye with that. Let's give it a bit of a cheers.
All right. Now, my questions aren't as insightful as yours. In fact, my first question is, who is your favorite patron?
How could I answer? Are you serious? There's no way. There's some patrons I've knew from age 4, like Theo. You know what I mean? And then there's Alan certainly got an unfair advantage because he flew to Malta and we invited him over to ours and watched match day 1 of Serie A together with him. And then Lokash is hilarious. Matthias is a genius. Alan is fucking hilarious. Lena is brilliant. Like she doesn't speak that much, but when she does, it's always something fucking brilliant. I love them all, man.
I love them all equally. No favorites. Right, now I'll ask you my first real question, okay? Do you ever worry that you're too good looking to be hiding behind an audio-only podcast?
Come on, man. Jesus Christ.
No, alright, my first real question. If you had to replace me with another co-host, any other co-host in the world, who would it be? You can pick anyone.
Oh my God. Any co-host in the world?
Yes.
Any co-host in the world.
You can be sat here with Cassano or Obama, like whoever you want. Like.
Okay, before Cassano opened his mouth, I really liked him. I liked his attitude and all that. But he's
a terrific player back in the day.
I mean, play style, one of my favorites. I remember when he joined Milan in the latter stages of his career, he was just brilliant, man. Brilliant. As that number 10 role that doesn't exist too commonly anymore. Listen to that beer. A part of me wants to say Gattuso, right? A strong part of me wants to say.
Imagine that content. Yes, because
I would absolutely love that. There are some brilliant hosts on other platforms that I really like. I really like the Serie A sit down guys, for example. They're absolutely
Frank and Richard.
Yeah, Frank and Richard. They're absolutely brilliant. I'd love to have either one of them, even if we could like do a collaboration with them one day. That would be pretty sick. But I think I do have to say Gattuso. Yeah.
Okay, so you could be the eloquent one. The unpredictable one.
Exactly. But the thing is, I have met someone when I was working in hotels who was looking after the Maltese national team, right? He's like the hospitality guy. He books their hotels, books their flights, makes sure they're in on time, this and that. And he actually used to be that guy for Milan. He was a Maltese man. Okay. Now, allegedly, obviously, this is what the gentleman told me. He was telling me stories about Pirlo, Gattuso, and Inzaghi. Apparently, firstly, all of them chain smokers, smoking cigarettes.
This guy made claim, okay, guys. He
made claim, but we have heard stories about Pirlo being a smoker before. You know what I mean? It's not new news. Now, was he doing it at the height of his career? I don't know. This guy made claim. But where was I going with this? And he said that Gattuso, Pirlo, and Inzaghi together were fucking hilarious and troublemakers. And I think we see it with Gattuso's press conferences and this and that.
There's a famous story of Zlatan picking up Gattuso and putting him in a bin.
Yes.
Another one where Gattuso he stabbed someone with a fork.
Yes, bro.
I forgot what it was like that. And another one, he ate a bug, he ate a snail or a slug. Gattuso, they bet that he wouldn't do it. He did it and he gave all the money to the kitmen.
Now that's the energy. That is the energy that you need on this podcast, man. Just starts eating bugs at any given moment. You know who else I'd like to have on? Fucking Gino D'Acampo, man. If he's into Serie A, I thought he's in Malta right now. He's opening a restaurant on Mercury Towers. Oh man, it'd be hilarious. I wonder if he's into Serie A though.
Cool.
Who would you choose?
I like James Horncastle.
Oh, man.
The Horn.
Oh, the Horn. Who's that guy?
I know who you're talking about.
The guy I like.
I like him as well. What the hell is his fucking name? Gab Marcotti.
Yes,
he's
bro,
so
he's
good.
fucking...
He's so level-headed. What a good pundit he is.
There was this one where everyone was shitting on the quality of Italian teams in the Champions League and the way he leveled out these Premier League legends and pundits and stuff. He really brought them back down to earth.
Yeah, that would be great. Also, if I have to go for a legend, I think it would be Paolo Maldini. His English is amazing.
Oh, it is.
Very elegant. It makes me look like pure shit. But yeah, that would be fun a fun guy to have on the podcast with for sure.
But James Horncastle, that was a brilliant answer.
No, thank you.
I'd agree with you over there. That James Horncastle would take your seat.
Yeah. With his voice.
Yeah. his name matches his voice perfectly.
I always love him.
Castle.
It's funny because he's got like this chill demeanor. And then his hair is fucking crazy, dude. So it's like a juxtaposition. What do you say? Like, yeah.
I guess. You're the English teacher here. I'm not.
All right.
So
sell me a pen.
Write something down for me. Roasted. Fuck.
Going right here, baby.
My question.
Yeah.
Now, what is your favorite and least favorite part of this podcast?
So, okay. Okay. My favorite part is when we have like a crazy comeback or a crazy goal and we start getting into it and we start kind of like spiraling and making jokes and like the jokes get slightly more inappropriate and we look at each other and we're like, should we keep that in? And we're like, fuck it, we keep it in. And we're kind of really threading on the edge. I love that. That's my favorite part of the pod. The laughs, man.
Yeah.
Like the Ribéry joke will live with me forever, bro. You killed me. And that was like early days. Serie A
Very
Spotlight.
early.
The joke, for those of you who don't know, was please, you have the voice in the
I said, Ribéry had the number 7 shaved into his head. What does this signify? How many minutes of football he's fit to play, or the amount of times he's fucked an underage prostitute?
And it killed me. It caught me off guard like crazy. This was at the time, of course, Ribéry was at Salernitana and he was barely fit enough to play. And of course, you all know the allegations. And my least favorite part is when there are 2 match weeks in a week.
Oh man,
I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that. And we either have to choose to group them or to release an episode halfway through the week when the next match day starts the next week, making people lose interest in the episode.
Yeah,
I never know what to do over there. I want to cover every single game, but it gets so crammed at times their schedule.
And like sometimes like there'll be fucking 4 games at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday when that shit happens. So we'll end up missing most games. Like, what am I going to say if I didn't watch the game?
Exactly.
Like, how could I sit here and preach if I wasn't there watching every single second of the game?
Yeah, you've got like, all right, so match day 7, for example, finishes on a Monday, and then you have Wednesday and Thursday, you've got the next match day.
Exactly.
And all the games happen in those 2 days. So you don't even have time to watch the extended highlights, like, and take fucking notes and like, you don't have any time to do anything.
Yeah, and we're here complaining, let alone the players, man. Jesus Christ.
The players play for those 90 minutes. They train leading up to it. They only need to prepare another 9 games. They have their one to focus on. So yes, what I'm saying right now is our job is more difficult than that of a football player.
That of a full-time athlete.
But yeah, what about you, bro? What's your favorite part of this?
I'd say I mirror your favorite part to perfection. I think to add a little bit to that, it's when we've had a bit too much to drink as well, and we're just being absolutely manic on the podcast. And then
there was one time we were gonna give up. Remember?
Yeah.
we couldn't even speak. It was like we were saying like 4 words, and we were just bursting out laughing.
When we had the it was the season Milan won the league.
Yeah.
The best season. The best season. And
the first season we started.
Yeah. And we did the extravaganza, right? No, actually it was the season Milan won the league, but it was in December, January where there was the break.
Oh my God,
we did the extravaganza.
The 4-hour
It was a 4-hour. We called it, did we call it Bohemian Rhapsody? No, we called it extravaganza. We called Bohemian Rhapsody one that was 10 minutes longer than the rest, I remember. But the extravaganza, for those of you that don't know, was recorded over 3 days. We got drunk recording it 3 days in a row.
We're hungover. Halfway through, we're hungover, getting drunk again.
And we had 2 events. Some of the we had it's New Year's Eve, bro. We were recording it over on New Year's Eve because we had some events, so we're like pre-drinking and recording the podcast while doing it. So I like it when we get a little bit messy on the podcast.
Same.
I think we've got the crowd to enjoy it as well. My least favorite part is when I didn't watch too much Serie A and I'm prepping for the podcast and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes weekends get
Honestly,
busy.
when that happens, bro, kick back, extended highlights, put them on and relax. Like, that's it. Because honestly, there's nothing worse. If you have a very busy weekend and then you have to prepare.
Yeah, and you have to read every article under the sun that was written about it.
And fact check everything, because it can get tedious, and in that case, the discussion would be more stats based and facts based and opinion based.
Yeah, don't give them the secrets now, because they'll know when we haven't watched the game.
Like, this guy's just dropping percentage statistics over here. Like, oh, wow, Tomori's had 7 recoveries this game. Like, really? Someone didn't watch the game. But yeah, bro, my next question for you. All right, I'll go for this one actually. You played as a goalkeeper for Mosta FC when you were a kid, right?
Yes.
So first of all, how old were you? Because my memory is fucked.
From age of 9 to age 11.
Okay, so from 9 to 11, you were a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Where the hell did you even get the desire to be a goalkeeper? And I don't even remember you like ever mentioning being a goalkeeper. I just remember you coming home one day and being like, I'm a goalkeeper now. Like, what happened?
Iker Casillas happened to me, bro.
Iker Casillas,
shit. I was absolutely obsessed with Casillas. I had started watching Real at a very young age. I started watching Real in 2003. I was 5 years old, man. I started watching Florentino Perez's initial Galacticos. I remember fucking David Beckham signing. I remember the lot. It's because our cousin supported Real Madrid, so I was super into them from a very young age. And I was obsessed with Casillas because he was a young goalkeeper and he was God, bro.
He was good.
Casillas, he was God, man, but between the sticks. Obviously, I really liked him because he's a sensitive and emotional guy. You see him
like you.
Exactly. I felt like I could idolize him because other footballers, you look at the Zlatans, you look at this and that, a lot of people really put, not saying Zlatan that isn't his natural personality, but so many people put on a front. Casillas was just emotion. He was himself entirely. He'd make a good save and you could see him start to tear up when he lifted the World Cup, bawling out. But when Real won the 2007 league, when Reyes scored that doppietta, crying his eyes out. And I remember our parents used to tease me a lot, like, look at Casillas, what a baby, he's crying. And I used to get so offended, bro.
Toxic. Bro, who was it? Lopez, who benched him at Real Madrid.
Diego Lopez.
And then he was bought by Milan.
Yeah, then he was bought by Milan. He was benched by Donnarumma. 16-year-old Donnarumma,
wow,
bro.
Man, that's worlds collide. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, but you were very good. Huh? I think, come to think of it, if I remember correctly, whenever we played football in the garage, I was always taking shots and you were always the keeper.
Yeah.
So probably you were molded into...
I mean, I used to train, bro, as a goalkeeper because we had drawn a goalpost in our garage. We had a big garage growing up.
We also had a monument of our great grandfather who had built one of the first hotels in Malta. So they had erected a monument. They were keeping it in our garage until they found a place to keep this. And me and Matt as kids would position this monument in different places and fucking kick the ball to the monument to try to get him to score a header. Like,
we used to call him Yapstar. That's so good. Our dad used to work in catering at this hotel. So he used to work really long hours and he used to come home late. And whenever I'd hear the garage door opening, which was manual back then, it was a metal manual door, I'd go sprinting down with my goalkeeper gloves on and I'd throw a ball at him. The poor guy would be fucking exhausted. So he's because I used to tell him 2 goals and that's it. 2 goals and we go up. And those 2 goals sometimes used to take like 40 minutes. He'd be shooting and just like shooting and he can't score. And then he'll score one and be like, no, that hit the post.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing.
But that's how I became good, because every day I used to play.
But then the problem is you stopped at 5'9".
Probably 5'8", man.
5'8",
I've had quite a reckoning recently. Like.
Really? Someone pulled out the tape?
Someone pulled out. It was the first time in Australia. The last March. Well, like, measure me out.
That's why the strip was so negative. That's what gives Matthews away for personal issues. He found out he's 5'8".
So I went to Australia where everyone's fucking huge and a bit cold.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's my question now.
Please.
So I've got a would you rather. Bit of a hypothetical here, okay? Would you rather? Okay. Would you rather give up the podcast and Milan win 5 Scudetti and 2 Champions Leagues in 10 years? Or keep the podcast, and watch another Milan banter era for the next 10 years?
Oh my God, you can't. It's five leagues and what?
Five Scudetti and 2 Champions Leagues in 10 years.
Oh my God.
Bro, I would be drunk every day if that happened.
Oh my God, what a fucking...
And you know what? Tossing a Coppa Italia as well. Milan banter era means fighting for Europa League.
You know what the thing is? I would be thinking about, I want to be talking about this right now. That's the thing, right? I want to be recording and
such
covering
good content,
this.
No?
It's great content. But then again, another banter era, man. I'd be 40 by the time we come out of it.
Yeah. Relax, you don't have to cry, bro. It's not really gonna happen.
Fuck me, man. You know what, man? I'm keeping the pod.
Whoa.
I'm keeping the pod.
That
what a mistake.
Fucking makes one of us.
What a mistake.
Bro.
Fuck it. That makes one of us, yeah. I can't, man. I can't just give it up.
I'm only messing, like.
I don't know what happens after the 10 years. You know, am I going to be one of those guys? They call this Milan.
Look,
you
man.
Seen Gullit.
What had attracted me to Milan? It's not like most people who, alright, I grew up watching Milan who were insane. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the thing that really drew me to Milan was watching them fucking suffer, man.
Yeah, honestly.
Watching them suffer.
Yeah.
And there are fucking shout out to all the homies that were there throughout those 8 years of shit that busted their nuts. The Bonaventuras.
Yeah.
The Romagnolis who were there.
Jeremy
Menes.
Yeah.
Fucking Tarap.
Bacca that one season.
Bacca that one season.
That one
you know
season
what I mean?
didn't dislike him.
Suso. Who really helped take Milan to that next
Romagnoli
level.
renewed when everything seemed to be over,
bro.
man.
Yes, like, shout out to Ricardo Rodriguez. Shout out to Borrini, man.
Yeah. They did their best, man. You know, that was the thing. They didn't have the quality to be playing at that level, most of them, but they proved many people
those are
wrong
my
at times, and they
heroes.
And they gave their all, man.
Those were my Milan heroes, bro.
Yeah, same, man. To be honest, of course, I remember very clearly that 2017, man.
Yeah, of course.
And for me,
we met them, bro. We met them,
but
in
I
the
hardly
summer
remember
of
because I
2006.
almost vomited, man. I turned red, I got dizzy, and I don't know what happened afterwards.
You remember calling Dida tall, bro? You're tall.
You're so tall, man. What language was Seedorf speaking, bro?
God knows, bro. Probably Dutch. Dutch does not sound chill, like.
He didn't give us the time of day, Seedorf.
No, Seedorf was on the phone. He kept going, but
like.
El Presidente, no?
El Presidente.
The guy that took the most time out for us.
Kakaber Kaladze, dude.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out.
What a guy.
Love Georgia.
He even posed for a picture, like they were on the way to dinner.
Kaka was... Wow, man. We met fucking Kaka.
Yeah, that was nice.
And he took a photo with Nondonev.
Yeah.
Nondonev. R.I.P.
R.I.P. bro. All right, bro. Favorite book and movie?
Crime and Punishment.
Is it really? Your
Favorite book? I'm almost finished from it, and it's ridiculous. I'm getting Raskolnikov tattooed in March. I swear.
There we go.
I swear. I can't read a book without getting a tattoo. Like, it's such an achievement.
So count Matthew's tattoos. That's how many books he's read.
My favorite movie is Moneyball.
Okay.
It's about Paolo
Wolf
Maldini.
of Wall Street, and I was setting you up for a roasting
No,
over
Moneyball.
there. Moneyball is great. I love
What
Moneyball.
a movie.
Yeah, but let's watch Moneyball. Bro. I was like, I want to watch Moneyball. I don't care about baseball. I watched it and I was like, wow.
What about?
What a movie, dude.
I've watched it 3 to 4 times. I watched it again on the way to Australia, by the way, because it's always on.
I mean, might as well. You had like 3 years.
It's always on Emirates and Turkish Airlines, always there. Every single time Hattie hits that home run, every single time he hits it, and the music comes on, tears. But not like tearing up, like tears, man.
Wow.
Every single time I watch that scene, I cry.
You want
Everyone fucking doubts him. He's got a weird elbow, like it's a mess. No one, they go to see him for the first time. Paolo Maldini rocks up to recruit him, and he's like, I can't throw for shit, I can't play for shit. Like, that was the beginning, and in the end, that's a true story, bro.
It's crazy.
Now ask me the real question, please.
That was my real question, man.
Favorite book and movie?
Yeah, man. Why not? You know.
Alright.
We never talk about ourselves. You know?
It's true, man.
So why not, man? Tell them what you are. Now they know that you like Moneyball and you like fucking Raskolnikov, or the fuck his name is.
Crime and Punishment.
Crime and Punishment.
But another great book, if I'm really answering these questions now, if you guys don't like novels or anything like that, read Ryan Holiday.
Ryan Holiday is great, man.
What he does is, rather than writing self-help, he writes about a message. So like the message of this book, for example, is stillness. So being in the moment, allowing the world to slow down, and you being in the moment and being present. What he does, instead of preaching this for 350 pages, is he gives you tiny, tiny stories about how successful people have exercised stillness to help them become great.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic read.
He's great. He simplifies the Marcus Aurelius types and all the ancient literature, quite frankly. Alan once made a good point, though, that a good way to actually learn about Stoicism and all these philosophical things is honestly watch university lectures on it.
I watch some Jordan Peterson ones, and even though they're not exactly on Stoicism and all that, like psychology and philosophy and stuff like that. He uses, last time he used the Lady Bird book, one of those kiddie books, as an analogy. It was...
Do the imitation, bro.
Well, the difference between black and white people is that they don't have enough melanin in their system. I don't know who has melanin and who doesn't and whatever.
The clear difference between
what's your favorite book and movie?
All right. My favorite book. Oh man, I really enjoy these like literary classics that are like horror, like Dracula. And fucking Frankenstein, like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Love that shit, bro. It's written so well. Like,
we've got so many at home, bro. You picked up some.
I picked up a few, yeah, bro. I grew up reading Goosebumps, Shivers, and all that stuff. Like, I'm a big horror fan. However, I have enjoyed many biographies. I remember when I was quite young, to be honest, so my memory might be skewed on how good this book actually was, but I remember being so entertained by Ozzy Osbourne's biography. Yeah, I read for the first time, actually, because it wasn't in our syllabus at school, The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Oh.
Fantastic book. Fantastic book.
I'm saying, not because I've read it, but because you've told me all about it.
So well written, man. That's I like these types of books. When it comes to my favorite film,
I have no idea what your favorite film is, man.
Man, I don't even know my favorite.
film. I know what your favorite film is.
What's my favorite film?
Enter the Void.
Enter the Void is my favorment fucking film. Okay, so I forgot I had that whole rabbit hole in my life. So Enter the Void is a crazy film. For those who don't know this film, it's a lot. It's very heavy. I recommend bracing yourselves before watching it. The director of this film actually directed another movie just to raise money to make this movie, which was the original movie he wanted to make, Enter the Void. It's filmed POV. It's about, it's a story that combines DMT, the drug, with the Mexican Book of the Dead. And it's a trip, this movie. I also enjoyed the Korean version. I sound so pretentious right now.
No, but
the Korean version.
You're not pretentious. You're weird.
I'm weird. I'm weird. I haven't even watched Oppenheimer or Barbie. They do nothing for me, dude.
I watched Oppenheimer. I enjoyed it.
I'd rather watch I don't know, something stupid. But anyway, the Korean version of Oldboy, the original version. Oldboy is part of a revenge trilogy made by this director, and it's crazy. The plot twist at the end will blow your mind. But and then of course I enjoy football shows, football series as well. I really enjoyed Ted Lasso for a family show. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, to be honest.
No, anything football. I just watched Beckham.
Oh my god!
Beckham. I watched Figo. That was brilliant. I remember when I was much younger, I read the Roy Keane autobiography, and that was excellent. It was really, really fucking good, man.
I read Adrenaline by Zlatan in Africa. That's a nice read as well. It's very interesting.
You have to read Crime and Punishment while I'm done with it. It's a commitment.
I started listening to the audiobook, but I was just killing myself. I was just putting it on before bed, falling asleep and losing where I was. And then listening, and I remember, it's I would be listening to the story. It sounds familiar, but not enough for me to know what's going to happen. But then when it happens, I say, yes, because I would have fallen asleep.
Jake, we are fucking... All right, we're Gen Z. I think you're not Gen Z.
No.
We were taught in a very millennial manner where unless we're reading something, we're not going to learn it. Unless we're writing something down, we're not going to learn it. And you read this book, that's the fucking true way that you're going to follow the story and get familiar with the characters.
Fair enough.
It's unbelievable, man. Now for my question. Again, mine are way less personal questions than yours.
Okay.
We understood different assignments from what it seems. But what is your favorite goal in football history?
Oh man, the only thing I can think of right now is Kaká's goal against United.
That's
where he made Heinze and
Evra
and Heinze.
Yeah, I think so.
He made them kiss, man.
Yeah.
It was a crazy goal.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite goals for sure. I also really enjoyed watching Zlatan's goal for Sweden against England there. That was a crazy goal as well. Ronaldo's bicycle kick against Juve was a mental goal. Luis Muriel had a goal where he fake shots the goalkeeper but touches the ball just enough to bounce it past him and just taps it in. That was a goal of pure finesse. I enjoy Totti's trips from out of the box. And it's hard to pick one, but I think the one that stuck with me the most was Kaká's.
Mine is, for what it was and for what it meant, Quagliarella's against Napoli.
Oh my god.
Takes the cake.
Oh my god.
Without a doubt.
Bereszynski back here! Oh my goodness!
Quagliarella, what a moment of magic!
Crazy. He's just retired. He's announced his retirement.
But for those of you that don't know what that goal meant for Quagliarella, there has to be a movie about this one day, or a docu-series or something on Quagliarella's life. Look it up if you guys don't know it. But basically, this was a guy who all he's wanted his entire life is to play for Napoli, right? His boyhood team, his favorite club, it was his dream. After a string of fantastic performances from season to season, he gets to represent them. But what he was looking forward to the most turned into it was definitely the most devastating period of his life, something that I hope no one listening ever goes through. He was being stalked by
his protector.
By someone very close to him, only to find out that it was his protector. But while he was at Napoli, he was receiving threats, finding notes in his house, blackmail.
Because, yes.
The darkest shit.
this forced him to move, and the best offer came from Juve, and the Napoli fans resented him and they hated him for it, and they viewed him as a traitor when in reality he was just protecting himself.
For his entire career.
So devastating.
His favorite football team, he got the chance to play for them, and it was devastating. And the fans resented him forever because he moved to Juve. Upon his return to face Napoli for Sampdoria, after the news had come out and various articles were released regarding the fact that his protector was arrested because he was proven guilty.
I believe he was a police officer.
Yeah, it was a police officer that was assigned to his case, and a close friend of his, I believe.
He met him through a mutual friend or something. Yeah.
He was welcomed back to the Maradona Stadium, and the entire Napoli fans had banners saying, "We are so sorry. We are so fucking sorry."
He does that.
And then Berezinski whips a ball in, and he just backheels it in midair. Fucking keeper rooted to the spot, doesn't celebrate. The entire stadium goes nuts. Sampdoria win 3-0. And you could just see him, his reaction to scoring that goal. It's like just the biggest relief ever in history.
It was also an I'm him moment.
Massive I'm him moment. I remember, I'm going to say this. With the Truffles together in Amsterdam, we got weird. We got fucked up.
While Mintoff and Santi were recording in our behalf, early episodes, you should go check them out. They call themselves the Jubilanis because of their heads.
We spent 30 minutes of our 7-hour-long trip, whatever it was, watching Quagliarella goals over and over and over again, and I wouldn't have it any other way. They call him Mr. Wonder Goal for a reason. That is
my dream goal.
That has to be my favorite goal ever, for what it meant and for the way it was scored. It was perfect, man.
The best goal I've ever witnessed live was Theo against Atalanta.
Yes, bro, we were there together, and I fucking dislocated your shoulder in celebration.
A goal that lives with me in recent memory that was pivotal for Milan's Scudetto win was Giroud's goal against Inter, where he absolutely fucking did Devray and then slotted it home. That was so good.
When I wrote this question, the first one that came to mind, not as my favorite, but as one I can't believe happened, was Pato against Barca on the 26th second.
Yeah, that was crazy as well. Oh my god.
Milan were such underdogs in that game, and 26 seconds in, fucking prime Alexandre Pato. Man,
it's like he has another gear to get into.
It's like he took 4 steps to get right in front of the keeper. Like, just knocks the ball around Puyol. Like, ridiculous goal. Ridiculous.
Yeah, good question.
Thank you.
Name a okay, let's try that again. Name a well-rated player you deem to be overrated.
I'm going to stick to Serie A for the theme.
Okay.
Right? A well-rated player who I believe is overrated. Oof. I'm going to have to be a bit controversial.
We love it.
But I'm actually going to say it's Milan star man, Leao.
Oh my god. Okay, this is the most controversial thing you've ever said on the podcast.
I think Leao is overrated.
What do you think is overrated by him?
I think
about him.
So the argument of he can only do one thing can quickly be diminished, because he is mainly successful at doing that, and he's incredibly effective at doing that. Sure. But when he's neutralized to doing that, like with a low block or something like that, and you give him time with the ball, maybe just outside the area, he can't pick a pass that's going to set a teammate up unless he takes it to the byline. His forward passing in that sense is awful.
Okay.
His decision making isn't great. His shooting is terrible. Honestly. And he's way too big for his boots. I think, there's no one that can do what he does, in the sense that running down the wing and then cutting it back. Like what he did against Napoli, what he did against all these teams, and in the Scudetto winning team, sure. But he's not the next big thing.
Look, the thing is, I tend to agree with you, because when it comes to getting the ball on the counter and taking the ball to the byline and slowing the pace of the game down and then bursting and absolutely destroying everyone by getting into a gear that the defenders don't even have. You can't. It doesn't even look like he's running at his max speed and he's destroying everyone. He's elite. I don't think there are many players better than him.
When he turns it on, bro, and he starts dribbling past all these players for fun, it's magnificent.
Yeah, it's incredible. But he doesn't seem to have understood his skill set. And I said he's getting a bit too big for his boots, perhaps. These long range shots, I can't stand them. I don't think I ever recall him scoring from out of the box ever. Okay, fair enough. For me, I have two answers.
Okay.
You know one of them very well because you lived through, I think, 2 or 3 years of me fucking cursing and hating this guy. Think carefully. Think about Milan players. One that I couldn't stand, bro. Do you remember who it was? It was a striker.
Was it Bacca?
Bacca, dude.
You hated Bacca.
I couldn't stand Bacca because, okay, granted, great finisher, fox in the box, a poacher like no other.
In
right?
Spain, he was ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's a luxury player. You need everything behind him to be perfect to have a player like that. You need a team that can build play up without needing the number 9 to get involved. And Milan weren't that. Milan would always try to play with Bacca, and like if the team was superior, if the opposing team had a superior midfield, Bacca would be invisible for the entire game until maybe a cross went into the box and he did score. But his build-up play was terrible. He had no weak foot. He would always go for the rubbo on anytime the ball was on his weak foot, and everyone was like, wow, he's so good. Like, no, he's shit. He can't even shoot with his weak foot. Like, he's doing this fucking rubbo. Now, granted, it went in like twice, but yeah, I couldn't stand Carlos Bacca. I couldn't stand him. I thought it always felt like Milan were a man down. And granted, he had one incredible season with Milan, and the rest, were what I expected, to be honest. The next one is slightly controversial as well, was Ronaldo at Juve. Ronaldo at Juve should have been a 9 to start off with. He should have been their striker. He played where he wanted to play, which was out on the wing, and I don't recall him dribbling a player ever. I don't think he ever dribbled a player. And he
shifted to a 9 and he was
did. And then in fact
good.
he has that clip where he beats the Sampdoria man to a header. He makes him look like he plays a different sport.
Yeah.
He scored
He scored that ridiculous header he had.
Yeah. But the fuss was too much every time he scored. It's like you see these big pages. I know Ronaldo brings that about him, right? Oh, he's still got it. He's killing it in Serie A. No, he's not, man. You watch the game. Half the time he's getting the ball out wide, he's doing a step over and he's passing because he can't beat his man, or he's getting tackled.
Yeah.
And that was the reality of it. Another one, Buffon at Parma, don't at me. Buffon at Parma in Serie B, if you watch the footage, it can be quite bad.
But he makes a simple save.
Exactly, everyone posts it on Twitter. But that's it about aging. You don't remain as sharp as you once were. But please, bro, your next one.
My next question. God, that was a good question. Not the overrated one.
Thanks.
This is my last question for you. If you were an aspiring footballer and needed to choose one player, past or present, to teach you how to play in all positions, who would you choose?
Rade Krunic. Brian Cristante. To teach me how to play all positions.
That was a yes, by the way, because sometimes I nod at you and I forget we don't do video.
Yeah, all positions. All right, so it needs to be a player who's absolutely complete in every department, man. Like a Goretzka type.
It's basically a question of who's the most complete footballer ever. He needs to teach you how to be a fox in the box. He needs to teach you how to be a crusher. He needs to teach you how to be creative. Maybe quick down the wings, or at least tricky down the wings. Hard man at the back.
Oh man, I don't know what pick to teach me how to do everything, man. Funnily enough, a player that's coming to mind is, you know what, man? I would have to pick a midfielder because I feel like their reading of the game is better than most. You know, I would go for Pirlo.
Whoa.
I'd go for Pirlo. Teach me your ways. Teach me how to maintain a walking pace
as an
for the
all-rounder.
Yes, man, because he was playing right in front of the defense for most of his career. You know, he would position himself enough that he didn't actually have to get into dirty challenges. He never actually had to sprint. You know, his football IQ was incredible. The rest, I guess, is you either have it or you don't, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would pick Pirlo.
I would go option. Let me start with option B, and I get to option A. So option B, Clarence Seedorf.
Clarence Seedorf is the perfect answer. Actually, you're right. That's.
He's option B.
He's option B. So there's a better one.
The better one.
Who is it?
Option A is Zinedine Zidane, bro.
Oh my god! All right, bro.
Clearly, I made this question.
Yeah,
I had a lot
time
of time to think about it.
Zidane, man.
Zidane is a crazy answer.
He's like a ballerina turned footballer.
Literally,
crazy, man.
He's got size.
There was that video, man, of the clip of him playing that game with Juve when the pitch was flooded, and he's using the water to faint even more. He's splashing. He's creating splashes so the defender thinks he's going a certain way. Like, and the song in the background was dripping like a mucking on water. Dripping like a mucking on water.
Never saw him fall off the horse.
I have seen him fall off the horse.
Fucking hell, man. That was so elegant.
He just fell on his feet, right?
No, he
got up. He rolled.
He rolled.
Yeah.
He fell into a roll and he just stood up like nothing happened. Like he's the main character in Uncharted or something. Man.
So yeah, Rade Krunic. my last player for you is, we've discussed this actually early on. So
the last question.
Yes.
You said last player.
The last question is a player you wish played in Serie A.
Oh. As a Milan fan, I'll say Mbappe for Milan, eh? But
I would say Messi, but what Papu Gomez, you know?
I wish we got to see. Can you imagine Iniesta?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Iniesta and say
that would have been crazy.
That's my answer, man. Or, oh my god. To be honest, there are 3 centre midfielders that played for Barca that are all very, very fucking good answers.
Xavi, Iniesta, Messi.
Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. Busquets as a 6.
Oof. That would have been nice, huh?
Milan, Inter, Juve. Imagine Busquets there as a 6. Yeah, I'm gonna go Busquets, bro.
I think, yeah.
I'm gonna go Busquets.
Fair enough, man. That's a good answer.
Thank you.
You know who I think would have been great in Italy? Guti, man. You remember Guti?
Don't.
Like, imagine,
you're asking me if I remember Guti was my favorite player for like
Guti,
10 years, though.
Guti at Lazio, dude.
Oh. Guti, I haven't seen, I swear to God, now you could tell me Kevin De Bruyne, fuck you, fuck off. Like, never watched Guti play. Guti's vision was ridiculous, man.
It was ridiculous.
It was, there was a game, Real beat Valladolid 7-2. He scored 2 and he assisted 4. Jake, this guy was unbelievable. I'm not saying because he did that back heel twice, the back heel assist one right in front of the keeper. It was ridiculous vision, man.
Another one out, Prime Ozil, man.
Prime Ozil. Too short a period though, his prime. Too short.
But that would have been nice to watch in the league. Yeah. Drogba would have been fun in the league.
Drogba was linked to Milan heavily back in the day, bro. Heavily.
But yeah, I don't think, to be honest, the repertoire of players that have played in Italy leaves a lot to be desired, because there have been some crazy good games.
Especially early 2000s, late 90s. Yeah. I mean...
The best were there.
Yeah. You know who I've really been intrigued with recently? Just his story in general and how good he was. Because I was thinking, this would have been such a good question. In fact, I'm going to ask it. Who do you think out of the classic players, legends, would have fared the best in today's game?
Of all the legends?
Of all the legends. Think of FIFA icons. Like, who would be... Who would... Because obviously it's a much different game.
Yeah. I think Kaká was ahead of his time, for example.
A bit too recent for my liking.
Okay. Roberto Carlos. Can you imagine Roberto Carlos in a team where the fullbacks are meant to do more than defend, for example?
He's fucking... benching DeMarco, like.
Definitely. DeMarco would just be waiting to clean her shoes, like. But so many, bro.
I'm thinking older, like, because these guys touch the 2000s. Who I was thinking about, for example, so how crazy it was what I was thinking. Like Van Basten, bro.
Van Basten would play in any era and it'd be amazing.
That's who I've really.
Because he's just a 9. Like he's a crazy good number 9 who has no weaknesses, like apart from his injuries.
That's what I've really been intrigued with recently. Just going back, watching his.
You know how old he was when he retired?
28, 27.
Yeah, 28 years old.
That's crazy.
28 years old.
Crazy.
Like Zlatan had 10 more years at least playing. Christ.
Madonna, man.
But yeah, the listeners have some questions for us as well.
Hey.
Let's get into it. Andrea asks the first one on Instagram. He says, "Oh, how did you guys meet, and where did your passion for culture start?" So, we're brothers. So one day, when I was 2 years old, my parents came home. My mom wasn't fat anymore, and she was holding this weird, chubby, pink thing that looked like an alien. And they were like, "This is your brother." And I was like, "Oh God, the inheritance has been split." But yeah, that's how we met. And our passion for football. Now, originally I didn't like football. I was all about basketball, ball or die, you know, because football was way too popular at school, and there was almost a social status thing around it. About
the cool
depending
kids.
on how good you were at it.
You were as popular as you were good at football.
Yeah. But then I remember our dad, showing us clips and watching games, and there were crazy moments, and I would actively be pretending that I wasn't enjoying them just to not be proved wrong. Like
it's like when he used to play Hey There Delilah in the car. I used to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Turn it off, I hate it. Then he'd leave the car and I'd put it on.
But yeah, pride is the enemy.
Yeah.
But yes, I realized that this sport, as simple as I thought it was, can bring out every emotion in you, man. Every single one. It's crazy. I think that the last few times I have cried, because I actually do have a problem crying, according to Sarah, was during football games, man.
Yeah.
The underdog stories, man. They get me every time, like every single time. But yeah,
I was always into it from a young age. My dad was involved with a football team in Malta, Mosta, which is where Jake and I grew up. And he used to take me to watch all the games. At a young age, I remember the smell of burgers and a soft drink at the football pitch. I remember going to the derbies between Birgu and Isla back in the day. I remember going to watch Malta play against Turkey. I remember I have all these memories. And I think, because he said, like, how did our passions come together? When I moved to Scotland for a year, I couldn't watch football because I was working 60 hours a week, like, you know what I mean? 55 to 60 hours a week at least. And especially on the weekends. So sometimes I'd watch some Champions League. So I kind of I didn't actively fall out of love with the game, but you don't watch many games and you become disinterested. And when I came back, this was 2016. Or 2017 when I got back, it was back hanging out with you, and at that time you're doing other things, but
right.
sitting down on the couch watching every single Serie A game from beginning to end, and I'm like, okay, cool. In the beginning I was like, how long does this go for?
Is he okay?
Why is bro talking to me about like the mid-table teams, like what's going on over here? Like, how could I interest myself in the mid-table teams? Fell in love with it, man.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it.
You notice when you watch closely and you watch more than once and you watch carefully, with the volume up, none of this stream bullshit, like without commentary, like you will realize how authentic Italian football is. How beautiful the stadiums are, how passionate the fans are, how much it means to them, how different the fans are from certain teams. Like, it films the Napoli section, it films the Milan fans, for example, totally different vibe entirely. You see the Salernitana fans, all right, they're underdogs, but they look totally different to the Genoa fans, who are also underdogs, you know. The Cagliari fans, well, then you're all the way in Sardinia. You have to, Venezia, we're in Serie A. You have to get on a fucking gondola to go to the stadium. Like, oh man, this shit's just...
If the Super League happens...
We're done. We'll continue covering Serie A of the Super League.
Yeah, of course.
Don't worry about that.
I'd be so pissed.
Our next question comes from Gabriel Borg. I always call him Gabriel. I don't know.
His name's Gabriel.
Gabriel Borg.
He's a
Juve
great
fan,
guy. I saw him at
listener,
Tempest recently.
friend. He says, at any point, was there a part when you guys said, fuck this, let's stop?
No.
Never. I never thought about stopping.
No.
And if so, what kept you being resilient to not do so? Again, it's the fact that the challenge becomes a challenge against yourself. It's like, I want to do this, I want to remain consistent, but in order to do that, I have to do something I potentially don't feel like doing on this day. Today, I just got home from work, I had a long day, I need to do my prep, I'm going to do it. And then you dread starting, you start doing the preparation, and you realize you're just watching football. Which is fun.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
And when you start doing something consistently, it becomes a checkbox in your mind. And if you don't check it off, there's a void.
Yeah, you
at the
feel
end of the
unproductive for sure.
It's only unproductive, but like you're not fulfilling. Like this is super fulfilling. It's like for anyone that's got their vices, who likes to put on a bet, who likes to smoke a cigarette or having a drink. It literally, it gives you like a similar dopamine, I guess, to that. The fulfillment you get releasing an episode, getting feedback, this and that. Like I can't live without it. And the times I've never thought of quitting, but like when it's peak freshers and I'm at work and it's mental and I get home at 7 and I need to prep and I need to do all my prep and we're recording tomorrow and I need to be up tomorrow at 5 a.m. and go do a donut run and this and fucking that. Like I get exhausted and I would dread doing the prep, but I would never dread recording the podcast.
You know what I think about as well, bro? I think about one day having kids and telling them about the good old days, but they'll be able to sit down and listen to me and you talking about the days as they happened, the good old days. And I think that's cool. You know, I would like for my children to check it out, to get a feel of what football was like. Because, you know, when dads talk about football, it's always like, back in my day, and it's so obscure. It's like, what the hell does that even mean? They'll actually have something tangible, something that they can relate
and
to.
the most particular moments as well. Like, imagine Milan were to never win a league again or Napoli were never to win a league again by the time we have kids. Could say, this is the last time they won the league. Here is every single match they played and my opinion on it. Every single game of the season is covered by us.
Yeah.
Every single fucking game. We don't miss one.
It's nice. It's good. Then you have my kid, 8 years old, listening to the podcast, trying to figure out what Italian football was all about. Dad, what's a prostitute? I don't know, ask your uncle. The next question comes from the mysterious Leo Messi on Instagram. We have a follower called Leo Messi, doesn't want to tell us his name, so he has to be referred to as the mysterious Leo Messi.
What a guy.
It's a question we've already answered, to be honest, but shout out to him. He said, what made you start this podcast and you ever feel like enough is enough, I quit? No.
But what made us start is a good part.
What made us start?
Answer.
I think it was the fact that we were watching all the games already. I had a Twitter account where I would post Milan-related things, and I would post things about Serie A in general, but they wouldn't get much attention at all because everyone was into Milan. And that Milan fan on Twitter. So I decided, you know what, man, it would be cool to have a place where we can talk about everything. You know, where there's no such thing as a priority game, where there's no such thing as, you know, big teams and small teams, where everyone gets to be discussed. And that's it. And Matthew was on board, which was great. And yeah, that's it.
And I think, like, we mentally started a podcast, like, seasons before we started a podcast. we would always be watching football and say, if we had a podcast, like, we'd discuss
say this.
We'd say this about this, we'd start on this, we'd do this segment, we'd do this and that. And then I remember I got so used to saying, if we were to do this or when we were to do this, that you accept that that's never gonna happen. You're just kind of getting dopamine out of the idea, out of mentioning it. You almost feel fulfilled, like you've done it, you know? And then I remember we said, you said, we're doing it this season, because if we're doing it this season, we need to start. I'm like, sure, man. Just like, I don't know if I wanted you to shut up or whatever. I'm just like, sure, like, let's do it. But I wasn't like 100% committed to doing it and to putting in the work when I said yes. And then the mic arrived. We watched the first match day and we're like, so now we plug the mic into the laptop and
5 games each.
I guess we go, man. Prep 5 games each. And
We're so vanilla on the first one, first episode. Not vanilla. We were coy. We were nervous, and you can feel it the way we speak now and the way we spoke back then. I think it was a strong start. Don't get me wrong, but yes, there's definitely a difference.
We should do some shit like we listened to episode 1 and then we listened to episode 100.
Yeah.
Compare the two, you know.
Alan, patron, brother, friend, asks, what were your most optimistic and pessimistic expectations before the podcast started, and how far is your current reality from those expectations? So for me, the most pessimistic thing I thought of was like just a bunch of two guys with another podcast. They have nothing unique to offer. And I can't even understand what they're saying because they have a weird accent.
Yeah.
that was the pessimistic thing I was expecting. But in reality, all we get is like, your English is pretty good, guys. Like, it's damn good. You know? I mean, it's an official language here. But yeah. Optimistic expectations was for people to listen and react, and it's the reality has surpassed it because people are actually paying membership fees now, and I'm so grateful for that.
My pessimistic view was just that would be recording for nothing, and I was there was a certain element of me that I was embarrassed by the idea to have our podcast on my Instagram bio when it had 12 followers. I was embarrassed what people might think. I was embarrassed that people might look at someone starting a podcast as something vain. Like, you think people are gonna care what you're talking about. So that side of me, that like caring what other people are gonna say kind of thing, I'm past that now, right? But that was a massive kind of
they've totally got it twisted, because it's not a matter of showing off what you know. It's a matter of sharing a passion, you know.
Exactly.
It's a matter of
I don't know more than Matthias.
Exactly. No,
I don't know more than Matthias.
No. Or Alan. You
or
know,
Alan.
These guys have crazy good ball knowledge. They could have their own podcast, you know.
Literally.
The thing is that we try to make people who aren't as into certain games into them, or we give them something to look out for, so maybe we'll tempt them to catch a game. What's in it for us? I don't know. We just love it, and we'd love for you to love it too.
My optimistic expectation, to give a different answer to the one of watching more football, I guess was the very odd idea that it could work, that just like people would listen and would get new followers and would get loyal followers.
And viral videos, you know.
Couple viral videos. Like, I would, bro. The idea of getting 8 million views on one TikTok.
It was an Instagram video, not even a TikTok.
On Instagram. Yeah. Didn't even cross my fucking mind.
Same, never. I never even thought about that.
Didn't cross my mind. Or like 1 million on the Kim Min-jae, and like the 8 million one did well because it was a funny video. And alright, there's a bit of commentary, a bit of back and forth between me and you. But like the Kim Min-jae one, it was your joke that got 1 million views. It was your joke that got people dying in the comments and tagging friends and this and that.
And Koreans going, I'm so proud. It was nice. And then Europeans saying, you're so racist.
Literally, man.
Yeah, that just goes to show, right? The Koreans were proud, and I was talking about them. The Europeans were offended, and I wasn't talking about them. But yeah.
The West.
2023. Alan also has another question that we've already discussed, but then he asked us a third question. He said, has any or both of you ever been to a sex show in Amsterdam during Corona, where either of you have been asked to take part in the act on stage with one of the performers and also accepted the request? If the answer is yes, how has it changed you as a person?
Alan, brother, man. It's fucking changed me, I'll tell you that. Shall I?
I guess you have to. How far in are we?
An hour 10. That's
Do
fine.
it.
That's fine. Well, one of them said they like how long our episodes are, so it was
Let's
Andy,
go.
I believe.
Buckle up, guys.
So we're in Amsterdam, right? It was my first time. So it was me, Jake, his girlfriend, my girlfriend, me, Jake, Key, and Sarah. Key is my girlfriend, Sarah is Jake's girlfriend. I went to Amsterdam together. It was my first time. They had all been before, a couple of times. And they're like, okay, Matt, get up. We're taking you to the red light district today. And I'm like, fucking right, let's see them tits. You know? So we obviously, we have our breakfast, we go to a cafe, we smoke a few joints, probably just to get in the mood. And we start walking to the red light district, and as we're approaching it, I'm getting
obliterated that, by the way. Like in Amsterdam, you're never all right. Like.
And it was freezing.
Yeah,
it was the coldest I've ever been in my life, and I couldn't speak. I was so high, like. And we're walking around, and all of a sudden, I just start seeing like someone was turning the sex on a bit more with every corner we cross, and then I start seeing women on show, like behind glass, like ass naked, and I'm like looking and then looking away, and Jake is like, Matt, the red light district, those women are over there to be admired.
So what a misogynist this Jake guy.
So admire them.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I start getting a bit more comfortable with the idea. Jake's like, ho, my brother, let me take you to a peep show. I'm like,
it's baby steps, no? We're
steps,
escalating.
yeah? So I'm starting to see live naked mannequins, and now we're going to a peep show. By the way, Key and Sarah game this entire time. They're so in. We go into this octagon. None of us had coins. And then Jake whips out his wallet and he starts handing out €2 to everyone. You just had €2 for everyone, bro. You hand us the €2.
I never have any cash.
We each go in these small cubicles, like the small corners of this octagon. You put in €2 completely by yourselves, and the curtain opens.
It's not even a curtain, it's mist. It clears up like on the glass.
Literally.
Yeah.
First, I don't know what was happening. There was a bit of a big girl just like looking sad. And I'm like, what's that? And then there was this lady, bro. She was a tiger, man. She was crawling like and all that. And I was like, I like this. Like this is fucking fun. Like she's looking at me, and then she was asking Jake to go to.
She told me to go to the back. I'm like, no, man. I might look like I'm game for some here. I've been with my girlfriend for 11 years. I'm not going to the back with you.
And I'm there just like looking at her, like biting my fucking lip. But then 5 minutes in, the mist comes back up, and I'm like, whatever that was, more. I'm like, is there a situation where we could go to a bar? Because everywhere closed at 5 here, so
because it's during COVID.
So we were
shut down.
Like we would have drinks at like 2, and it was acceptable. So I'm like, can we go to a bar, have a drink, and there's just like people fucking like around us or on stage or something.
Say no more.
Say no more, brother. Quick Google search. Okay, there's this place called Moulin Rouge. Name and shame. We find it. And we're like, okay, it's €50 each entry. Okay, we get a free drink. And then that, basically. There are people on stage fucking and doing this and that. How good. So we walk up this place, and I remember the place is like within like 10 meters, and we're just like looking at each other, discussing, like, who's going to go up first? Who's going to go up first? And then I walk up to this guy that's outside. He just looks at us and goes, "You ready?"
All right, you ready?
"You ready?" Like, okay, hand him the 50 euro. Takes us. It's like, okay, bathrooms are to the left in case you need to go before. Like, you do you. Like, okay. We walk in, we grab our drink. We're sat on the side. It is me, Jake, Kia, and Sarah, and 2 guys. All right? And then there's the stage, and there's a guy with a massive dick fucking a girl with massive tits. That's what's happening. All right? That's happening right on stage. I'm like, brilliant.
Wish there were more people.
Wish there were more people. Weird. Like, we're outnumbering the other people here. And then that act ends, and then a woman comes on.
Wouldn't call it an act.
A woman comes on, she's touching herself a bit, brilliant. And then a woman comes on, she's pulling Christmas lights out of her pussy. And it's like never ending, bro. It's like, when's this gonna end? It was crazy, man.
David Blaine shit.
And then like an acrobat woman came in here. She was so hot with the short blonde hair. She kind of looked like Miley Cyrus. And then we hear this. Just walking in, clearly someone wearing massive heels, right? Yeah. And there's this fucking woman, botch. A lot of work done, but to the point that she's barely like. Is
anywhere between 30 and 100. Like.
Yeah, and is she a human being? Like, was the real question over there? And she just goes, "Okay, someone on stage now. Someone on stage or no show. We close. No show." And we're like, okay, we're safe because we're with our girlfriends. There are these 2 guys, and they're obviously like, no, like forget it. Don't ask me again. And then she looks at us. I'm like, again, we're safe and I'm safe. Until the 3 people to my right start pointing at me. All right, Key, Jake, and Sarah start pointing at me to go on stage. And I'm like, the quicker I say yes, the quicker this will be over, and I don't want this place to close because I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So I get on stage. Keep in mind, everything is so fake about this person. Like, you do you, but everything was so fake. Mm-hmm. She sits me down. All of a sudden, she's like, "You're comfortable? Is this okay? Is this okay?" I'm like, I guess. While I'm saying I guess, she fucking slaps me in the face with her tit, which is rock solid, bro. Her tit hit me, my head hit the wall behind me. Like, that's how hard it was. I was like, what?
All that you heard from then on was
literally. And then she's just like dancing in front of me, like giving me a lap dance. I'm like, okay, if this is the worst of it, like, fuck it, whatever, she's giving me a lap dance. Then she tells me, "Get on the floor." And I'm like, over there's like, "Get on the floor." I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'll get on the floor, I'll do whatever you say at this point, like. And I'm laying on the floor, scared, right? And I'm not seeing anything happening because I'm looking right up at the ceiling, but I'm hearing. And I look to my right.
My God.
And she's got a dildo down her throat, like just a massive. She's looking me right in the eyes, and she's.
The dildo is coming out of your pants, no?
Not yet.
Okay.
Then she unzipped my pants, and I'm like, "There's absolutely no way. There's no way she's gonna give me a blowjob on stage right now, because." What do I do? How do I even say no? Like, you know, like, what the fuck?
Chiara's right there.
The love of my life is right there. And my brother and his girlfriend, basically my sister at this point, have been together 11 years. I'm like, and these 2 dudes just like there. I'm like, this is the worst day of my life. And then she puts the dildo where my dick is supposed to be, and she just starts sucking it. I'm like, my God, how I wish you were sexy. Because if you were sexy, this would be so enjoyable right now. And then she starts riding me and like, like making a bunch of noise. I'm like, cool. And the dildo.
I wonder how many listeners have tuned out
I doubt it, bro.
They probably all is.
They probably put the volume up. And then she gets the dildo. And obviously dildo's got the end with the with the head, and the other end has like a stand.
Yeah.
She grabs it and she puts the stand in my mouth.
It's a gag.
It's a gag, quite literally. She puts the gag in my mouth and the dildo is coming out of my mouth. And without any caution whatsoever, she sits on my fucking face she's naked, like, bro, completely. And she's riding my fucking boom, 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 boom. I'm smelling her. I'm tasting her.
Oh, wait.
My nose hurt when I pressed it for like the rest of the holiday. Like she was, and then she was telling me, come on, come on, come on. So I was like a chicken underneath her, like moving my head up and down, essentially obeying her. And at this point, I'm like, they must be finding this so funny. Like, let me just go on with it. Let me fucking, I don't like move my head back and forth. Then it's over. I stand up with pussy juice all over my mouth. I look at Key, Jake, and Sarah, expecting to see them laughing. And they're all looking at me like, what the fuck just happened? Key, who totally encouraged me to go up, didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. She's so disgusted.
She made you go up.
We were supposed to do shrooms. I'm like, there's no way. I remember we're on the bus and every time you're looking over, just staring out the window out of pure shock.
I remember that, bro. I'll never forget the ride home. I was bursting out laughing looking at you, man. You had like your head in your fucking palms and your palms rested on the window. Like you've just been traumatized. But yeah, man. Thank you so much, Alan. That was the most vile, vulgar thing we've ever said on the podcast.
Maybe.
Thank you very much. So far.
Yeah. I mean, Alan, like I said, he came to Malta, came over to our house, and obviously we just started sharing anecdotes with him. And yeah, he put me in the deep end. So thanks a lot, Al.
Thanks a lot, pal. But yeah, Frank on Twitter asks, well, he says, love the laid-back approach and the feeling that you are in a bar chatting. Now, this is the first time I've heard this, and and many people, when we asked for feedback, said the same thing. It feels like we're in a bar having a conversation over
Isn't
a drink.
that what we want? To be as organic as possible?
Exactly. That's great. That's amazing. He asks, what is your first memory of college show? Who was the person who gave you the bug for it? Now, for me, the person who gave me the bug for it, there were two people, and Zlatan described them as his adrenaline brothers in his book. Gattuso and Pippo Inzaghi.
Oh,
bro. Whenever Inzaghi scored, the hairs on my neck would go up. Just looking at him.
It was
every goal, no matter how it was scored, meant so much to him. That man. And Gattuso, the fact there was no nonsense, no bullshit. He was so tough, man. Like he would go into a 50-50 with anyone and he'd fucking win it. And he didn't give a fuck. Yeah. And I remember going to the stadium to watch Milan Real Madrid, and Ronaldo had fallen to the ground and Gattuso bent over him. Yeah. And his face is screaming in his face. Like,
and then Ronaldo got up, Gattuso grabbed him by the neck, and Ronaldo went down holding his face.
Yeah.
I remember the entire Milan.
We were there, no?
We were there, of course we were. I was in a Real Madrid kid. That is probably the when I look back, you cringe at yourself in the past. That's mine. But funnily enough, you mentioned that when Inzaghi scored the doppietta and one he was clearly offside for, and the entire San Siro jumping and singing his song, the Oi 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 song. That, like, how could you even be mad? That was
he was like 37, 40 perhaps even?
Bro, like 35, 36, I think.
Wow,
that's really
two different ages.
That really made me fall in love with Milan and Serie A. But the one moment where I realized I was out of the Real Madrid bandwagon and totally in the Serie A bandwagon is I'm watching Real Napoli in the Champions League as a Real fan. And this is already when I was back from Scotland, and it was almost like a formality that I was still supporting the team I had grown up supporting. But obviously I was Milan through and through, you remember, from a younger age, like. But out of respect, like, I guess I kind of kept supporting Real Madrid. And I really liked Insigne of Napoli, one of my favorite players, not of all time, but in recent history, one of my favorites. And he just gets this loose ball, 35 yards out.
Against Real, right?
Against Real.
Yeah.
And from 35 yards out, he curls this incredibly low drive past Keylor Navas into the back of net for one of the best Champions League goals I have seen. And I stood up, I went, goal!
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? But that was a real moment for me to realize.
That was a real moment.
I need to stop pretending here.
Great. 4 questions from Luca Argento, who was drunk when he sent them because he's just graduated and he had his bus skate today. So congratulations, Luca Argento. Not sure what you graduated in. I know it's something to do with sports, if I'm not mistaken. But well done, nonetheless.
Congrats, brother.
His first question is, when can I touch Jake's head? Oof. And whenever you want, as long as you ask. I have never said no. But ask.
Is it annoying when people slap your head?
No one's slapping my head.
No one's slapping
your head. No one's slapping my head. No, I'm kidding. People slap my head sometimes. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about it. It's annoying. But if you ask, no problem. Touch my head. It's fine. Question 2. Will I be able to see all... When will I... Okay, no, it says this. Will I be able to see all your Inter merch? Yes, we will. We are planning on opening up a shop where we'll be selling posters and eventually maybe items of clothing.
Inter merch?
Yes, I've drawn a few Inter posters of Di Marco, Thuram, all that stuff.
All right.
And he seems to be interested in that. Yeah. Did Vlahovic get replaced by Keane due to results in game? I think Keane's has been on way better form than Vlahovic. He looks more involved. He looks more lively. He looks more willing to get deep and to fight for the ball and to win it. Vlahovic looks like he's on an island when he's playing. So my take is that yes, Keane earned his spot through hard work.
Way more involved, Keane, in the game. Way more like dragging the ball forward from more central area to break into a goal scoring opportunity. He's been brilliant over there. Yeah. I think he is what Juve signed Vlahovic for. To have that guy with that drive, breaking forward and finishing. And Keane's really been that guy. He's so strong. He's really good at hold-up play. He's looking much better than he ever has. So I think it's a choice.
And then his 4th question really demonstrated that the person currently talking to me is not in his senses, because he asked, what should Bologna do about their defense, man? And I'm like, wait a minute. Bologna hardly conceded this season. I looked it up. Bologna have conceded the 3rd fewest goals this season. Inter have conceded the fewest with 6, Juve with 7, and Bologna with 10. Okay, so whatever they're doing, I think they need to keep doing it, bro.
I agree.
But thank you, Luca, and I hope you had a great time, and hopefully tomorrow won't be as brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, I think we can move on to our Patreon voice notes, man.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
This is lovely. This is one of the most wholesome things I have ever experienced, listening to these. First up, we have one from Matthias. It's not actually a voice note. He sent a text because, I quote, sorry, father duties did not allow him to send a voice note tonight. Priorities. He says, hello, Serie A Spotlight. I am delighted to have found your podcast. It is truly great to follow your weekly enthusiasm for the world's most fascinating league. I have watched Serie A for 20 years and find the league to be in one of the best states of these 2 decades. The competition for the title is more dense than ever. The young players are evolving and I find the mid-table teams to be more interesting than ever. In the mid-noughties games such as Bologna-Torino, they were a bit of a drag, with half-owned players and conservative managers. Now these games are compelling with details of excellence as well as meaning for the future of the league. I feel that you capture this compelling and competitive and treat it with the enthusiasm it deserves. This podcast has a bright future and every listener should become a patron so that you can be one of the lenses and the theater lights directed onto the league. That's beautiful. Wow. That's beautiful. Being from Sweden, I wish to give you something from the history of Swedish-Italian football. So many footballers have made the way south, starting in the 50s with Nordahl, Gren and Lidholm in Milan to now when talents such as Kulusevski moved to Italian academies to get their first senior games in Serie A. I therefore give you a best 11 with Swedish Serie A players. His goalkeeper was Robin Olsen. That's a strong start, Matthias. One of only 2 Swedish goalies in the league. Not too successful. Yes, can confirm. The back 3 involves Glenn Hiesen, Glenn Stromberg, and Isaac Hien. Stromberg here is an Atalanta legend, mainly as a midfielder, but played as a libero in the early 1990s. Isaac Hien is a fascinating young talent who should leave Verona for a more structured side. I can see him to be good in Monza or perhaps even as an aggressive Fiorentina defender. Very good shout. I love Isaac Hien.
Yeah.
He's so good. Midfield. You're killing me here. Skoglund, Ingesen, Lidholm, Kulusevski. Skoglund and Lidholm are players from the 50s. Lidholm went on to manage Milan and Roma. Ingesen was a workhorse at Bari and Bologna in the late 1990s. And Kulusevski, one of the only Juve players I don't despise. Would love to see him back in Italy though. The attack featured Nordahl, Zlatan and Brolin, 3 of the absolute best attacking Swedish players of all time. In this formation, Brolin would have to play behind Nordahl, and Prime Zlatan can take any attacking position he wants, of course. Much praise and respect. Cheers to the next 100 episodes, Matthias. Thank you so much, Matthias. That means a lot. Love to get your input on the Swedish players in the league. You often open our eyes to things that we don't even notice ourselves. So good to have you on board, and you are yourself a contributor to the podcast. Yes. That can be said about all the patrons.
Yes, thank you very much, brother. Next up is our boy Alan, who made me say that despicable fucking story. But yeah, AC Milan.
We won't be getting that vile anytime soon again. Don't worry, guys.
No,
you can listen comfortably in your car in traffic without worrying.
Why do you make promises when you know we probably can't keep them, dog?
Well, you're right.
Alan is an AC Milan fan. Alan is also a good friend of ours after we hung out with him during his time in Malta, him and his Mexican mamacita. But here's Alan.
Hello, Jake and Matt, who is finally back from Australia. Happy to hear that you're back with your brother. Guys, congratulations on the 100th episode of Serie A Spotlight. Good job, you did it. It's a huge milestone, and I don't know why, but I'm excited on your behalf. It's really cool. And I can proudly say that I've listened to every single one of your episodes since launch. Not in order, but yeah, I came across the podcast on a Reddit post. I believe you once told me it was a friend of yours who helped you set it up or something like that. And yeah, it wasn't love on first sight, but it was love on first listen. And I enjoyed it since. I actually went back because you already had recorded like 3 or 4 episodes before I became aware of it. So I went back and listened to those episodes as well. So I had like a week where I listened to five of your episodes or something like that. So yeah, cheers guys. I hope this is just the beginning for you. Whatever your ambitions are, I hope you achieve them because you deserve it. Okay, so I've written down 2 points. I want to say something a little bit about what this podcast means to me personally. Because I live in Norway, and Norway is like a Prem head country. I have friends that are really into football. They watch a lot of football. They know a lot of football. They know a lot more than me. Not that I'm some kind of standard for knowledge, but it's all Premier League. And they will like sit down and they will watch like Milan Inter, or now they will probably watch Juve Inter over the weekend, but nobody's going to watch Bologna Torino and discuss it like the next 2 days, or nobody's going to watch Fiorentina Sassuolo or something like that. It's if the top 7 face each other, that's when they are watching it. So for me personally, this is like where you guys come and fill in this gap. You provide this great discussion about the thing, one of my biggest passions, and you provide this outlet for me where I can kind of like get to indulge into my passion in a sense. So yeah, this is, I guess, what this podcast is to me. Is like this platform where I can live my passion that I don't get elsewhere in life, because of this Prem head country. I mean, I don't want to talk shit about the Premier League. It's a great league, but I'm in love with Serie A, and that's how it is. So thank you for that. And also, I wanted to say a few words about what I enjoyed the most about the podcast, but I don't really know how to phrase it because I can't pick out one thing. So it's like this perfect mixture, this perfect balance, the weekend, the football weekend, that's like the main dish. That's where I'm sitting watching the games that I have time to watch, of course. But then a few days later, you drop your episode, and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect. It's not too sweet, not too bitter, not too sweet, not too salty. And yeah, I don't know the tastes. I'm not a chef, but you have this perfect balance that's just great. You have your ball knowledge, you have your humor, you have your personalities. And yeah, I mean, no matter how funny or witty somebody is, I would never bother to listen to them talk about football if they don't have the ball knowledge. Like that's step one. But you master it greatly, and I really appreciate the podcast. I really appreciate the community you've made in the WhatsApp group. There are a lot of great personalities in there, and it's a fun part of the day whenever somebody writes a text there. So thank you. As long as you keep recording, I will keep listening. Don't stop. Keep going. Appreciate you guys. Peace out. Forza Milan.
Alan, thank you so much. There aren't even any words I can use to express my gratitude right now.
It's terrible because it's a podcast.
I know. Exactly. So you can't see my face right now. But I really appreciate it, bro, and we look forward to bringing you more content. Now, a really funny thing was how Andy reacted to this voice note, right? So you sent this voice note and you made it clear that it was going out of your comfort zone to send this, whatever you urged all the other patrons to do, which I'm very grateful for. Yeah. Thank you for the push.
Massive, bro.
Yeah. And then Andy sent this.
Well done, Alan. Very proud of you. You sounded pretty good. Yeah, I'll say a few words, boys. I'll put something together a little bit later on for the old SAS.
That is fucking classic Andy, man.
Classic Andy, man. Would he qualify as a road man?
Not a modern road man, but you know how in the 90s, have you watched there's this movie.
Is it the one he recommended?
Well, kind of like that one, not Green Street Hooligans, but it's another variation of it.
Yeah, about I'm blanking out completely. What were they called? The groups of fans. The
firms.
Firms, yes, dude. About it was a Chelsea firm, I believe. The movie.
I believe so. I watched a movie recently. Some barrel and a loaded shotgun or something.
Smoke Glock.
Pussy and a smoking shotgun barrel. And Vinnie Jones is one of the actors that Alan sounds like every single one. Like, you that geezer fucking mugged me off with it. you know what I mean?
He's eloquent, huh?
He is. He's very well spoken.
Yes.
Very well. He's a Crystal Palace fan, guys. He can also rap.
He can.
Brilliant rapping.
We won't be showing you without his permission.
Don't worry. We've asked. But anyway, here's Andy for you guys.
Hello, Serie A Spotlight. Hello, Jake and Matt. It's Andy from London, one of your patrons here. Congratulations on your 100th episode of the podcast. I just want to say a few words, really. It's not easy to keep a podcast going. You see loads of podcasts out there, thousands of them. And they come and they go, but you've stuck around and you've got to this milestone. So congratulations. And you're doing a brilliant job. Just want to tell you a little bit about how I came about you, really. I came about you, I think it was through Spotify. I think it was in the really early days, maybe episode 12, 15, something like that. But like Alan, your other great patron, said that I went back. I've listened to every single one of them as well. And I'm going to echo what he said. What I do like about you guys is the length of the podcast. You fill in details with every single game. And you don't get that on many other podcasts going out there. They focus on the big games or just a controversial moment in one or two games. You focus on every single game in Serie A because, I don't know if you know this or you're aware, not everyone in the world supports Juventus or Inter Milan. Some people do support other clubs. So that's where you give that quality to your podcast, that you give every club sort of a platform, and you let everybody else know out there what's happening in the league as a whole league, not just a couple of episodes. And being a Crystal Palace supporter, I'm used to a life of despair and sort of a life of disappointment with my team. So, I think that's why maybe I can relate to people that support lesser teams in all other leagues as well. And I like the way you come across in your podcast, because again, other podcasts out there, someone fucks up, bad back pass, they give them a little, maybe it was this, maybe it wasn't. No, it was just a shit back pass. When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me. We're having a conversation like you would do with any of your other mates. And that's what I like about it, the groundness of your podcast and the easy listening and the comedy and the laughter. That's what I think sets you apart from majority of other podcasts out there. So well done, guys. Congratulations. And if anyone's listened to this, I'd recommend definitely signing up to follow these guys, because if you like Serie A football, it doesn't matter if you like Prem or if you support another Premiership team like I do. If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week, and you'll get filled in exactly what's happening, the big events through every single team in the league, and it will keep you up to speed and in the loop. So once again, boys, well done, and hopefully look forward to seeing you in the future. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Andy. One day we should totally grab a pint, be it here in Malta, be it in Italy, be it in London. We should definitely meet one day. You seem like a straight up guy, like a stand up guy. Yeah. I think that's the expression. Can't wait to meet you, man.
Same here, brother. Same here. Next up, guys, we've got Lena. Unfortunately, our only female patron. However, we do have other female listeners, thankfully. Lena's more than obviously just the female to tick the checkbox in our patron, but she's a fantastic addition. She's absolutely hilarious.
She's always at games. She's always sending pictures at stadiums. Massive fan of football.
Yeah, here's what Lena had to say, and thank you to her.
For a bit of female representation, my name is Lena, and I've basically been following football and Serie A for nearly 20 years now. For me, it all started when I got hit by the puberty truck and I saw Kaká in the 2006 World Cup Panini album. My friend and I then basically bullied our little brother's football coach into coaching a girls' team, and football has been a huge part of my life ever since. So the team is obviously Milan. It offended me greatly when people used to ask me if I'd switch teams when Kaká left, because by that time Milan had grown on me like a particularly nasty tumor that I sometimes wish I could have removed. I found Serie A Spotlight not too long ago, maybe about 6 months-ish, when somebody mentioned it on Reddit, and I've been starving for some sort of commentary or community that wasn't quite as bandwagony and negative as sometimes Discords and forums tend to be. And in this podcast, I've just found genuinely good commentary and objectivity, so much so that I'm even willing to forgive the Milano is blue comments. And the passion that Jake and Matt have for Serie A is really quite infectious. And myself, I tended to be very tunnel visioned when it came to football in Milan, sort of neglecting everything around Milan. And this has really helped me broaden my horizons. So I really appreciate that. Plus, it keeps me awake while driving to work at 5:30 in the morning. So cheers for that, guys. So yeah, I'm really happy with my random find, and especially with the little group chat as well. So for my fellow female lurkers out there, please feel free to join. I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Really appreciate it, Lena. Not even my own girlfriend likes the sound of my voice at 5:30 in the morning. So what we have is special. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening and for being a part of our family.
Yeah. And my girlfriend doesn't like it when I ask her for a boob pic, so I've learned not to obviously be that guy. Next up, we've got Santi, one of the two Jubalanis. You know more about him than me, but I find him to be a fantastic guy.
Yeah, diplomat, fantastic character. He can get on with anyone. You can put him in any social setting and he'll fit right in. Santi's a gem of a person. And this is what he had to say.
Jake and Matt, 100 episodes. Congratulations, boys. Really, really well done. I've been listening, obviously, since day dot. Jake and I working together in our previous jobs. And he, one day he just comes up to me, sends me a link on WhatsApp saying, "Do you mind giving this a listen?" And it was from then on, it was just, part of my weekly routine to listen to you guys. It was loads of fun. Also being on the episode with Mint a couple of times, filling in for when you guys were in Amsterdam, and then coming back for a special episode with all you four, previewing, I think it was last season, I guess, quite some time ago already. Time is flying. But that was loads of fun. Especially talking nonsense with Mint and proving Mint wrong that Scamacca was only going to score 6 goals in the Premier League, less than 6, and he didn't. So yeah, that's just to wanted to remind everyone about that time when Mintoff was wrong and I was right. Otherwise, really well done, lads. Love listening to the podcast every week, even though I'm getting less and less time to watch Serie A, which probably makes it even all the more better to listen to you guys so I can get all the details of the games every week. And especially, I mean, I'm a Prem fan actually. First, I started watching football when Chelsea played Reading a long time ago, and both Cech and Hilario got injured, and John Terry went in goal, and I just loved that game. So I decided to start following football and then following Chelsea. But I am deep down, a Milan fan at heart. So watching listening to Serie A Spotlight and watching you guys on Instagram and your other clips has brought a lot of love for the pod, and obviously love for you guys as well. Congratulations once again, and best of luck for the next 100.
Thank you very much, brother, and thank you for not boasting too much about pocketing Maltese national Paul Mbong.
Yes, but thank you for boasting about beating Mintoff in that bet.
Yes.
Beating all of us in that bet, actually. We all thought Scamacca would get more than 6 goals in the Premier League, but you stood your ground and you were proven to be right, unless you're taking all competitions into consideration. And I don't recall you ever specified, so fuck you, Santi. But thank you, bro, from the heart.
Next up, all the way from the States, one of our most recent patrons, and it is the guy with the coolest name on the podcast, Mr. Michael Lockhart. And here's what he had to say.
What's going on, Jake and Matt? This is Mike. I'm coming in from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the United States. And that's actually one of the big reasons that, I started listening to this show. Fortunately for the United States, we have one of the major streaming services actually pick Serie A up. So about 1 to 2 days a week, I actually get somewhat decent Serie A coverage, but with that led me to wanting more. So I reverted to podcast. I want to say I found your podcast. I'm actually highly confident it was actually on Reddit. Just saying that it was a very laid back, good podcast to listen to with plenty of information. And I'm pretty much giving this from the perspective of I've only been a listener for about 4 to 5 months. So I'm definitely giving the new member perspective. But everything that I've seen so far, it's been great. I look forward to the podcast every week. It's packed full of plenty of information. I mean, whether it's, the Milan derby or Frosinone versus Genoa, the information is always there. I'm an Atalanta fan myself. I have been for the last 7 years. Just seeing what that team's done, it's been nothing short of amazing, going from where they came from. And I've really wanted to look for a place where I can get news coverage, things like that in English. And your podcast every week, when they play, I'm hearing about it. I'm listening to your review, and you guys are giving what I want to hear. So I just want to say good luck to you two. Congratulations on 100 episodes. I'm in the process now of actually going back and listening to probably about 50 of them. But I'm sure I'll enjoy every minute of it. And listening to a couple other of these, I think everybody kind of gets the same thing. And why your podcast in the Serie A realm really stands out is you guys sitting here listening to it, it makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other. It just makes it real fun, lighthearted. Usually when I go on longer drives or whatever, I'll pop the podcast on, and I'll have my fiance in the car, and she cares about Serie A football, just like the bubble gum stuck to the bottom of my shoe. But listening to your guys' podcast, some of the stuff you say is, pretty funny, things like that. She'll laugh at it. She'll at least pay attention to it and seems to somewhat enjoy it, even though I'm sure she could care less about, Albert Goodmanson's brace in the last match. I don't know what to tell her with that, but with somebody like that who's completely neutral outsider that enjoys this podcast, I think that goes a long way. So just wanted to say, keep up the good work. I'm going to obviously continue to listen, and I really enjoy it, and hopefully everybody else does.
Thank you, Mike. Good to know that another woman enjoys the sound of our voices. And I personally love the way that you pronounce teams like Frosinone, so on, Genoa, so on and so forth. But it's really cool to see the American, let's call it soccer community, out of respect, but it's football, we all know that. But really enjoying seeing that growing over the past years, and that it's good to have at least one of you guys on our side enjoying some good Serie A.
You're the man, Mike. Up next, we've got Luca Argento, the previous
the guy who asked the question.
Yes,
the previous question. Luca Argento, the previous question asker. What an intro.
Luca Argento is a loyal listener, a patron, a fellow Malteser. Newly graduate.
Yes.
So well
Today.
done. Congratulations.
And they were supposed to come to our offices. We're on campus.
He said he went to Bay with a Vibe sticker.
Oh, what a guy!
What a legend.
He should have come to our offices.
Yeah.
We were giving them beer.
But this is Luca.
Well, morning, Jake and Matt. First of all, congratulations on your 100th episode on Serie A Spotlight. I'm Luca, if you might know me. I'm your resident Juventus fan. Again, congratulations. Basically, I've recently, I think I'm the most recent one who who joined the group. I joined like roughly 2 months ago, at the beginning of the season. I've always been a Serie A fan, but I had a tendency to tunnel vision on Juve only, on Juve games. I didn't take into consideration the other teams. But this year I wanted to see what's out because I was bored actually at work. I went on Spotify and I found you guys, and it's I haven't even since that day I haven't stopped listening to you guys. Your humor and your mixture of humor and facts and the commentary between you guys. It's something which always brings me back to listening to another episode of yours. Additionally, with the commentary, I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed. This also helps me, which keeps me more up to date and in the loop. Since not every day I can be glued to the TV and watch every single game there is. I hope you celebrate this momentous occasion, and again, congratulations on your 100th episode. And I hope to see the next 100. Be there the next 100 episodes you make. Cheers, guys, and enjoy.
Thank you, Luca, for listening. Thank you for your participation in the group chat. You're hilarious. You're great. Thank you for giving the girls... No, it wasn't him. He didn't give the girls their first victory. Jamie did. Right?
Was it Jamie or Luca?
I think it was Jamie. Anyway,
Never mind.
It
might have been. He's doing really well in Fanta. I think he's second.
Yeah, he is. Well done, Luca. And thank you very much. And thank you to everyone. This has been an amazing episode. The vibes have been immaculate.
Yes. And I mean, it's episode 100, so celebrate the journey a little bit, man. Just have a bit more of a light-hearted one. Getting our patrons on the episode, asking each other some random questions, like hopefully you learned a thing or two more about us. Jake loves Asian movies.
And Matthew has had a traumatic sexual experience.
Exactly. So... yeah, good to be back as well. Obviously, my first episode back, but next week we get to properly start again.
Get into the nitty-gritty.
Getting into the nitty-gritty.
There's going to be a Derby d'Italia to cover,
Derby d'Italia, Milan, Fiorentina.
Oh.
Excellent.
Fucking hell.
Looking forward to seeing you guys. Take care. Love you all.
Love you.